I'm Trish Toby with WARC reporting to you live from Westchester, New York, where there appears to be some sort of mutant menace on the loose.
Hey everybody, I'm Matt Allcamp.
I'm Pat Reber.
And you could say...
And then Alex, if you don't mind.
Oh, shit. I'm already off to a nice start.
It's fine.
And I'm Alex Goldman.
What? And say it with us,
Say
Pete.
it with us, Pete.
Welcome
to Mutant Menace.
What, listeners, we just got to let you in here a little bit. We are doing a monumental issue this episode. It's Giant Size X-Men #1. And so what we thought is what we should have somebody with us who we think is cool and who we think is funny and who is podcast royalty. That's fair to say, right?
I'm not going to cop to that. I thought, when you started that sentence, I thought you were going to say, we've got a giant-sized X-Men #1, so we wanted a giant-sized person, and I was just going to be like, joke about my weight. And I was like, damn, these guys go hard.
Alex Goldman is here, everybody, from Hyperfixed and many other projects. How's it going?
Thank you for having me. I'm very excited about this. I was very excited to read this. I have tons of questions and tons of thoughts.
Great.
I don't know how many answers we'll have, but we definitely can share thoughts with you.
We're going to try.
I'm going to get it out at the beginning. I'm going to get out my 2 fan out moments at the beginning here, Alex, if you don't mind.
Okay.
#1, I'm also a shower sitter, and I felt very seen.
All right. Well, I mean, it's the only way to take a shower.
It's the best way.
But then I was like leaned into the bathroom the other day to tell my son, I was like, it's time to get out. And I saw him like, and I was like, I really can't tell if he's sitting on in the shower because it's like what he learned from me or because he's depressed. Should I be worried?
It is always the picture of a depressed person in like a movie or a commercial or whatever. And for me, I'm just like happily sitting there.
Right. I mean, I'm just vibing.
Yeah.
Honestly, the best thing about sleeping in the shower, it's what I learned in high school, is that you can sort of put your chin against your chest and kind of fall asleep for 10 minutes.
I've not crossed that barrier yet.
Get on my level.
#2, I just have to say, the Kristen Has Doubts episode of Hyperfixed made me fucking bawl.
Oh, wow. Oh, thank you. I'm sorry.
It was very good. No, that is
how dare you, Alex?
So, yeah, we brought you on here so I could yell at you for making me cry. I did it in front of my child. He no longer respects me. No, I'm kidding.
For those of you who don't know, someone wrote in and asked, hey, should I have a kid or not? And then we went through this process of trying to figure out whether this person, like using statistical analysis. There was a whole part that we left out where we were like going to like the people who make actuarial tables for insurance being like, what's the risk process? How do you calculate the risk of having a kid? And they were like, you don't understand this industry at all. You're an idiot. Stop talking to us. It's not how it works. There's too many variables. It's not the same as getting into a car crash.
Hey, so man, that's my brand of journalism.
But one thing that we plan on doing is revisiting old episodes to see how people are progressing once we quote unquote solve the problem. And I'm terrified to go back to this person to have her be like, I'm no clearer about whether I should have a kid than I was.
Wow. Yeah. Because her conclusion at the end is the thing that made me cry. It was like, so I won't spoil it for the listeners, but it was so poignant, right? It was, she had such a clear-headed idea of, the personal emotions and ethics and how they combined.
She was such a better radio producer than I am. She came up with such a good ending that I never could have in a million years.
Right. You called her to be like, we don't really have an ending. And she was like, hey, don't worry.
Yeah, I got you, bud.
Well, we're really glad to have you here. So thank you so much.
Yeah.
Hey, Pat.
Uh-oh.
Do you do you want to do some Pat's email corner?
Yeah, that's the cue. Pat's
Pat
email
really wanted a
corner.
theme song for Pat's email corner, so I got him one.
Made one himself. Pat's email corner. Welcome. First, we have an email from listener Simon. Simon says, "Hello, I just wanted to take a moment to convey my appreciation for all the hard work you put into your podcast. I collected comics in the 90s, and due to my lack of funds, I spent all my money trying to buy every X-Men title there was. Since then, I've been interested in the convoluted history of the X-Men. Your podcast gives me a compact, insightful, and funny overview of every embarrassing story in their early years. Can't wait for you to catch up." Yeah, go ahead.
Who is this listener?
This is listener Simon.
Simon, I am doing that now. I'm doing it now at 39 years old, spending my limited funds to try and buy every X-Men comic.
Yeah, you're almost there. He says, "Can't wait for you to catch up to the issues I read as a teen and see what you do when there's 36 different X-Men titles a month to recap. Hang in there, and when word of mouth does its thing, you'll be explaining to thousands why the X-Men hung out in shacks in the Australian outback for a while."
Yeah, that did happen.
Thank you, Simon. Listener Jason, who's developing his own reputation on Pat's email corner, says that my approach to Hulk
you gotta
comics
come up with a nickname for him, like Email Michael.
We will. It's got to be better than Email Jason, I think. My approach to Hulk comics in this period is similar to my approach to Punisher comics in the Ennis years. The Hulk is unchanging and uninteresting. Hulk only wants to be left alone, or Hulk is smashing.
Yeah. Alex, have you ever read old Hulk comics?
My exposure to the Hulk is pretty much limited to like the Bill Bixby television series, the Ang Lee movie, and then like where he appears in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Like I don't really know Hulk outside of those iterations. I remember having a puzzle when I was a kid with the Hulk lifting up a school bus, saving some children, but that's sort of the extent of it.
That puzzle is like that's all you need to know about the Hulk. Like me and Pat recently read some Hulk issues for a while. There's a period of time where the X-Men were canceled and they just appeared in other people's comics for about 5 years in the late 60s or early 70s.
I had no idea that was a thing.
That's what makes this, we'll get into it. That's what makes this one so wild, is the X-Men had been gone for 5 years.
Okay. Amazing.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Hulk comics are not super interesting.
They
aside from
100% what you think a Hulk comic would be.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that doesn't. Bill Bixby, the Bill Bixby Hulk show, as comforting as it was when I was a kid, because that haunting theme song, incredibly boring.
They did make a made-for-TV movie with the Bill Bixby Hulk that also has Daredevil in it.
Oh shit!
Yeah, I missed that entirely.
That was the one where they had like a Thor and stuff. They just had
yes. Oh yeah, there is
absolutely
a Thor in that.
Ridiculous costumes. I mean, they're superheroes. All of them are ridiculous. Okay, what's the rest of the email?
Jason does go on to point out that the interesting bits worth reading, as we figured out, are with the supporting cast and how they grow and develop around this force of nature.
Yeah.
He's got a couple other points. Did you know that listener Jason is Canadian?
Just like Logan.
Wow. That's exactly what he points out for us.
I'm coming here with some prior knowledge of the X-Men.
There we go.
Whoa. Okay. What about Weapon Jason for the for his email nickname?
Weapon Jason. It's done. He does point out how funny it is that the Canadian government seems extremely well funded and secretive when he knows for a fact that they don't really have how does he say it here? Can barely afford to replace its aging helicopter fleet and a nursed 1950s tank design. Lastly, thanks to this podcast and Save Your Game, I've discovered the broader Matt Allcamp franchise and I've started listening to the very worst and every folk song. Can you imagine that, Matt? Somebody just hearing your voice all day long.
You've embarrassed me, Weapon Jason, but thank you. That's like ridiculously sweet. Thank you.
And then finally, we did, of course, hear from Email Michael. He sent us 2 emails because he is Email Michael. Tell me, hey, Pat, tell Matt I'm on his side. Geez, sometimes I have to write like I'm telling him things he already knows because the strict format of Pat's Email Corner requires me to open every email this way. I literally have no choice in the matter.
Oh, God.
He's very right about that. You yelled at him last time for what you interpreted as accusing you of something when we really demanded that he write in, hey, Pat, tell Matt.
We demand all our listeners start their emails with, hey, Pat, tell Matt. The stupidest. We're stupid people. Okay.
Yeah. And you took it as, hey, Pat, tell Matt.
No. Email Michael. I was just joking.
He also, I'm not going to give it dignity, but he mentions that Holy Hannah might be the word that Professor X made everybody think on. He signs off as Email Michael, but seems to, he says, who has definitely been called worse. I want to be really clear, and it doesn't sound that great because we just named Jason Weapon Jason, but Email Michael was meant to be a compliment. And then
listen, coming off of Weapon Jason, Email Michael sounds a little soft.
It's not very grand, but this is how nicknames are formed.
I had no idea that Email Michael would take it as a. But yeah,
I thought we were bestowing an honor on him.
We are what 17 episodes in, and we have like what under 100 listeners, and we're already up our own asses about this fucking podcast.
I love it. We're just going to keep getting worse. Matt, he also sent us a second email just to congratulate you on graduating college.
Oh, thank you.
And that, play the music, is Pat's Email Corner. Oh. Dong, dong.
Well, thank you for all those emails, everybody.
You're welcome. On behalf of our listeners, you're welcome.
Why were you waiting for someone to respond? None of us sent it.
What a great transition. What a great... I honestly, okay, here's my thought process. I didn't know what we were moving. I didn't know how to move forward. I don't know. I felt stuck. I felt like the tracks skidded me to a halt.
You have a hard time moving on when someone compliments you.
Yeah, I'm just going to turn my microphone. You guys can do the show without me.
Alex, I do have a couple of questions for you just before we get into the issue. Number one, what's your experience with the X-Men? What's your entry point? Yeah.
I would say that I am like an intermediate X-Men fan.
Right.
Like I was reading the comics in the early 90s, right about the time that all of like, I feel like Jim Lee was doing them for a minute or
that's true.
And then everybody jumped to Image, and then I kind of fell out with it, but I was also watching the cartoon show. I of course have seen all the movies. So like I know I have a decent knowledge of the X-Men. And then I felt like when I was going into this and I saw this was giant X-Men #1, I was like, I'm going to be pretty solid on all these characters. And there were about 4 of them where I was like, who the hell is that?
Yeah. Perfect. Second question. Did you do anything X-Men related this week?
Did I do anything X-Men related this week? That's tough to say. I did see the Superman movie.
How did you feel about it?
I fell asleep for the first 30 minutes. So when I woke up, I was like, people are running around. I have no idea what their motivations are. And then for the final 30 minutes, my daughter was like, I'm bored. I want to go. So I got like a solid hour of movie watching right in the middle there. It was great. It was fine. It was as good as I expected it to be, which is like perfectly fun movie, not a game changer. All the critics were right. The Lois Lane and Superman are both perfectly cast.
Oh, that's
it's a lot of fun. It's a very fun movie.
That seems like what you want out of a superhero movie mostly is just really good casting And beyond that, you're like lucky to get anything else.
Yeah, but we never got Glenn Danzig as Wolverine, so I'm never gonna feel happy.
We're
about
currently, Matt and I both feel strongly about this,
Well, hold
campaigning
on.
for Bo and Yang for Wolverine.
Pat seems to think Bo and Yang would be a really good Wolverine.
Yeah,
Interesting. I'd never even considered it.
No one has. No one on Earth has.
Okay, now that I'm looking at him, the reason I never considered it is because he'd make a terrible Wolverine.
I don't think that's true. He's stout. He's about the same height as you would expect Wolverine to be. And I think that we need a fresh take. But he's got that sort of angry sass that Wolverine has.
You know, the real reason I'm not able to visualize it is just because of like his haircut choices. Like he needs to go way wilder if I'm going to.
Oh yeah.
But sure, okay, all right, I'm in.
There's a lot of. He's also completely hairless, apparently. But yeah, all right.
Well,
Alex
then
Goldman.
I'm out.
Yeah, that's what this is. Yeah, that's the first thing I did when Pat said this insane thing. As I was like, well, the thing about Wolverine is very, very hairy. And Pat was like, well, we don't know. And I typed in Bo and Yang shirtless, and like immediately a picture of Bo and Yang in a thong with absolutely no hair on his body comes up.
It's funny. I like Googled short, stout actors, and I was like, maybe this will. And all I'm getting is Danny DeVito. Maybe not the Wolverine that we're looking for.
Yeah, not quite Wolverine material, but maybe a younger Danny DeVito. Pat, how about you? Did you do anything X-Men related this week?
I did not. Nope.
No? Just you're not even gonna fake it this week.
I will say, just to get back to Alex's answer for a moment, Hank McCoy, the Beast, loves Superman, or has at least referenced him in the comics before. So that is an X-Men related activity.
Yeah. Okay.
Matt, did you do anything X-Men related this week?
Fuck. You ask me this every week. It's always the worst question, and I always don't have anything prepared. I drank this tea.
Yeah.
I don't know which
tea.
X-Man drinks tea, but
what kind of tea is it?
It's chai tea, and it's got some almond creamer in it.
Oh,
I don't know if that's very X-Men related. I went to some arcades weirdly, I went to 2 arcades this weekend.
Ooh. What'd you play?
You know what I'm really good at? Do you guys ever go to those arcades? Do you ever see that arcade game, the Piano Keys arcade game? Where
yes,
it's like Guitar Hero or whatever, where you have to hit the right notes in the right sequence, but instead of them coming at you, it goes on at your pace, and it's timed. So it only advances when you hit a key, and if you hit the wrong key, it like flashes red for like 3 seconds to make you slow down. And I fucking rule at that game. I don't know why. That's the one physical thing in this world that I can achieve. But it's the Piano Keys game. I don't know in what way this is X-Men related, but that's the only cool thing I did this week.
That's very
There was
Jubilee.
an arcade X-Men video game.
Yeah, that's true. Oh! Yeah.
There was also X-Men Children of the Atom, the fighting game. So I guess there were 2 X-Men arcade games.
Alex, you just reminded me. I played an X-Men pinball machine, actually, just yesterday. I don't know why I forgot about it immediately, but it was really cool. I don't know. Had a little video screen up at the top, and when you got certain things, the X-Men would fight guys.
That's great. I love that.
All right, well, do you guys want to do something wild here and talk about Giant Size X-Men #1 with me?
Yes.
Very much so.
Okay. Well, before we actually talk about the content, I want to give some background. Would that be all right?
I'll allow it.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
So, the history of this is kind of interesting. So, Roy Thomas wrote the, old school original X-Men that we've covered in the show so far. And he had gotten in his head he was a huge fan of the Black Hawks, which was a DC comic series, and they were a multicultural team. And he got it in his head, along with the president of Marvel at that time, that they would do Blackhawk-inspired international X-Men team. And his original pitch was that they would fly around in a special airship that looked like a cloud so that people couldn't see it. And they would recruit different mutants in different countries, mostly the countries that Marvel had major distribution deals in. So that they could sell more comics there. So they hired this guy, Dave Cockrum, who eventually would end up drawing this, because he was drawing for DC at the time. He was drawing for a series called The Legion of Superheroes. And I don't know if you guys know The Legion of Superheroes, but it is a fucking legion of superheroes. There's so many of them.
Okay.
So we came up with a bunch of designs, and most of them DC was like, oh, those are too weird. So they just sat in his notebook, and like one of them was Nightcrawler.
Oh.
One of them was a woman he called the Black Cat, who could turn into a cat. And then another one was a guy named Typhoon, who could control the weather. And Marvel didn't like either of them, so they combined them. And also, that's why Storm has cat eyes.
I was wondering about that, because the way she is drawn in this comic, her face looks... Can we swear on here?
Yeah, absolutely.
Her face looks fucked up. She looks like she looks like fucked up anime. Like her eyes are tilted at a 45-degree angle, this impossible 45-degree angle. You saying that she has cat features now clarifies it for me in a way that is very comforting, because looking at her was super unpleasant.
Yeah. They also intended her to be 17 years old.
Oh,
which
that doesn't seem right.
Just that really does talks. Not. It's very different than the Aurora that we learn to that we come to know later.
Yeah. Well, here's another wild thing: Wolverine. Okay, Wolverine was created by Len Wein in a Hulk comic with the idea that if they ever do this X-Men thing Roy Thomas has been talking about, we'll use Wolverine. His idea was that Wolverine was 19 years old.
Huh.
So he could still go to school.
yeah, exactly. They were all supposed to be kids and students. And
so weird. It wasn't weird that they all were going to, Charles Xavier School for Gifted.
Yeah.
Exactly. I think in one of the upcoming issues, Professor X gives Wolverine a demerit. So they brought Dave Cockrum in. Dave Cockrum wanted the X-Men to work off Magneto's weird island base that he founded the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants on way back in issue number 6.
Yeah.
And Mike Friedrich, who had written 6 issues of the classic X-Men, was supposed to write it, but then Roy Thomas stepped down as editor-in-chief and left Marvel. Len Wein became the new editor-in-chief and knew about these X-Men plans, but not many other people did. And Mike Friedrich moved to LA. And so Len Wein just completely forgot the guy existed. And so he's like, well, do we even have a writer on this thing? I'll just do it.
Couldn't send him an email?
I don't know. Yeah, Pat, I don't know why they didn't send him an email.
They had to do everything by carrier pigeon back then.
And then they had lost the concept of why they wanted an international team in the first place. So they ended up creating a bunch of characters in places that Marvel wouldn't sell comics for another 30 years, like the USSR and Kenya.
Yeah.
Then it was supposed to keep being giant-sized X-Men. Like, what we'll find out is the next couple issues of regular X-Men, which gets uncanceled.
Interesting.
We're supposed to be giant-sized X-Men number 2, and then they broke it up. But, okay, here's the last thing I'll tell you guys before we get into it. Dave Cockrum apparently said the original story, and you guys think about if you would have liked this better or worse. The original story was they were going to recruit these X-Men. They were all going to go to South America, to rescue the old X-Men and find a bunch of Aztec gods wandering around like stomping shit and terrorizing people. And so the new X-Men were going to have to stop these Aztec gods. And would turn out the Aztec gods were the X-Men in disguise, and it was all a test.
I'm sure they would have handled that with the subtlety and care for indigenous populations that they do in the existing comic, which I'm sure we'll get to.
So Dave Cockrum was like kind of just like, I'm not doing that. And also I like Banshee and Thunderbird, who were supposed to fail the test. And so that's why they stick around, but Sunfire leaves.
I had no idea that I was reading the first appearance of so many fundamental X-Men characters when I read this comic.
Oh, yeah?
Like Colossus, Storm, and Nightcrawler, I think of as like core X-Men.
Yeah,
They've been there for everything, you know? Like Storm's like the most powerful. She's like a god. Like she's been around for everything.
Yeah.
So it is crazy to me that they're also in this with, the fuck's her name? Lorna Dale? Who is that?
Lorna Dune.
Lorna Dane ends up being a mutant named Polaris. But yeah, the ones on the island are what all the X-Men were for 66 issues. And so, Alex, now you can kind of understand maybe why the X-Men got canceled for 5 years.
Yeah, I certainly can. I mean, don't get me wrong. Like Angel, Iceman, Beast, they go hard, but there's no Jean Grey here, right? Like I don't like. There's no Jean Grey.
There is. She's called Marvel Girl.
Okay,
She's got the yellow like butterfly mask.
I don't acknowledge that as being. Listen, that's non-canon for Alex Goldman. I don't.
Also, me and Pat just talked about it and listeners, if you haven't, we just released a bonus, the story so far bonus. Hey, it's a good time to tell your friends about the show because we have a cool guest and we just had a catch-up episode. But what we realized is that Jean Grey barely talked to anybody for those first 60 issues. Like, she barely has a character.
Yeah.
I mean, but there's just characters in here that I'm like, so there's Lorna Dane, never heard of her.
Yeah.
Even Polaris is a name that like I only know in passing. Sunfire, get the hell out of here. Who is that? Come on. Be so for
believe
real.
it or not, Sunfire is from a much more problematic issue.
Even more problematic in this issue. Yeah, about how it's actually good that we dropped a bomb on Hiroshima.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Because it made Japan good at diplomacy now. Like, that's literally the point of that issue.
Yes. And then there's Thunderbird, who not that character. I'm sure they cleaned him up a little bit as time went on, but
okay. Fuck. I'll have to tell you off air what happened to Thunderbird.
Yeah, we don't want to spoil it.
Because we don't want to spoil it for our listeners.
But as he's introduced in this comic, he is very much a noble savage in like a he's supposed to be rough. He's supposed to be an indigenous American, a Native American, and he's got a feather and a headband and all of this shit that you would expect from a like 1950s Western, just with bigger muscles.
And his impetus for joining the team is, and we'll get to this real soon, his impetus for joining the team is that Charles Xavier says a bunch of racist shit at him.
Right.
And he's chasing a bison in the quote unquote Great Plains of Arizona. The Great Plains aren't in Arizona. There's not bison in Arizona.
Yeah. There's quite a bit of like, there's like all of this, you know, a box text. There's all this narration text that's just like, you know, the noble Native American follows a tradition that they followed for 500 years where he wrestles the bison to the ground. It's really rough.
It's bad. And they even use slurs in those boxes.
Oh yeah. Yes.
Okay. Pat, do you want to tell us what happens in part 1?
Yeah, that's a great piece to follow. Giant size X-Men #1. We are looking at a release date of April 1st, 1975. The cover says May 1975. Len Wein, of course, writer and editor title, and Dave Cockrum, illustrator. They're both also created or credited as co-creators here, which is a huge battle on all its own. Glynis Wein, colorist, and John Costanza, letterer. Part 1, Second Genesis. Splash page. A group of brightly costumed and diversely powered people run towards us as the 5 X-Men we know and love appear as a mirage in the smoky skies behind them. From the ashes of the past, there grow the fires of the future, the narrator tells us. We cut to
I missed that text box, and I thought you came up with that, and I was like, fuck, Pat, that's so poetic.
Yeah, well, aside from the racial slurs, Len Wein is actually pretty poetic. We cut to Winseldorf, Germany, where a torch-wielding mob is hunting for a monster as a furry blue imp runs from them. This imp calls himself Kurt Wagner and pleads for the mob to leave him alone, and as he deftly scrambles up the side of a tall building. The villagers set fire to this home, leaving Kurt no choice but to try to defend himself. At the mercy of this mob after a brief spat, he finds them all suddenly frozen in place. Charles Xavier enters the scene and offers Kurt a chance to learn to be his best self. Cut to Quebec, where Wolverine enters a conference room and almost immediately accepts Xavier's offer to leave the Canadian government agency he's been working for and join the X-Men instead. Some government suit tries to stop him from leaving, but Wolverine extends one claw with a simple snick and cuts off his tie, and the G-Man stops talking. Cut to Nashville, Tennessee, the Grand Ole Opry, where Banshee is finally enjoying a Merle Haggard show. Professor X interrupts to speak with him, and whatever they discuss, Banshee likes it more than Merle Haggard. He's in. Cut to Kenya, where a community in suffering prays for relief when a goddess named Ororo suddenly appears. She brings rain down to ease the drought-ridden earth, asking for no tribute in return. As she stands back to appreciate her work, a voice in her head calls out and compliments her awesome power. It's, of course, Professor X, who's able to persuade her that she can have an even bigger impact as a member of the X-Men. Osaka, Japan. Professor X chats with his old acquaintance, Shiro Yoshida, whom he convinces to join the team as his alter ego, Sunfire. In Siberia, Peter Rasputin runs to rescue his little sister from an out-of-control tractor, turning himself into pure metal in the process. The tractor is totaled, but before he can worry about that, he too hears the voice of Charles Xavier inside his mind. Though he's reluctant to leave his family, Peter knows he can serve the world as an X-Man. The desert plains of Arizona. A restless Apache man chases down and wrestles a bison with his bare hands while resenting that no one else in his community is as strong or manly as him. Professor X approaches, but John Proudstar rudely rejects his offer. Not to be outdone in rudeness, Xavier tells him that not joining the X-Men just confirms the rumor that all Apache people are cowards. John Proudstar joins to disprove this theory. The end.
Fuck, man.
So really quickly, the first thing I noticed is that Nightcrawler does not teleport. Did he not have that power yet when this was written?
He does well into the issue. I think they're saving it.
Not during his fight with people who are trying to kill him. Like it seems like the opportunity is there, bro.
It seems like it's maybe part 3 that they were like, oh, why don't we also let this guy teleport?
Yeah, super weird.
How do you feel
that point? Very interesting. I really love just the way this first page is set up. It is done really poetically. I think Len Wein does have a bit of a gift for narration. But the first thing we see is another torch-wielding mob. It is 1975. We have to be over torch-wielding mobs and houses with straw roofs at this point, right?
Yeah. We just saw, I hate to be this way, but we just saw a torch-wielding mob in the US just like 3 years ago, man.
Oh, yeah, that's fair. But they weren't like the rag. They were, well, that's a good depressing point.
I'm sorry.
Kurt's struggle, though, is really pretty visceral. You can feel it. It does call back to, we see this a lot in the X-Men old horror comics, and just the way that's paced out and kind of shrouds it in mystery until somebody that we recognize actually shows up.
Yeah.
I did like the line where Professor X shows up and says, and Nightcrawler says, "Can you help me be normal?" And then he says, "After tonight's misfortune, Kurt, would you truly want to be?" And I mean, it's not the most unbelievable narrative switch that I've ever seen in my life, but it's a little advanced for comics in 1975. I appreciate it.
Yeah. I think that sets the tone going forward, right? Like, that was not sort of up till now, we haven't really seen the X-Men being proud of being weird, right? Like, they were clearly weird, but they were like kind of bummed out about it. And this is the first time it's like, hey, this is cool. Being weird is cool.
Yeah. It's sort of a nascent. That becomes a much stronger theme as the years go on.
Mm-hmm.
Sure does.
And I think that's kind of the thing that makes people like us identify with the X-Men. We're just like as kids, like, yeah, I'm fucking weird too. I'm just like this guy. Pat, you wrote furry, which is true.
Yeah.
But I didn't know he was furry until I was like in my 20s.
I didn't know he was furry until just this moment.
Oh.
I assumed he had lizardy skin when I was a kid.
Really? Mm-hmm. I've always, and this furry is my adjective.
Really?
I don't believe it's mentioned in the comic. I always assumed he was furry. mutantmenacepod@gmail.com. Please let us know.
No, I happen to know that he is furry. People call him Fuzzy Elf, and people talk about the fine blue fur. But I do not know how any readers were ever supposed to know that based on the drawings.
In the movies, he's just got like human skin and it's blue.
Yeah,
right?
That's just how I imagined him.
Yeah. With like weird like brandings on it or something.
Played by Alan Cumming.
He's
having a huge moment.
Oh, yeah.
So then we move on to Wolverine, who is all attitude. Okay, here's a fun thing. So in Wolverine's first appearance, he had tiny little eye, whatever those are.
Yeah, the little
eye spikes.
Eye fins.
So Gil Kane drew the cover of this issue and misunderstood Wolverine's costume. And so drew him like they were big ears was how Gil Kane thought of it.
Yeah.
Dave Cockrum was just like, oh, that's cooler. And started drawing him like that. And now he's like that forever.
I disagree with that. I think this is a downgrade for his costume. I love his little tiny ears.
And his whiskers.
Looks like a helmet. Yeah.
He used to have whiskers, Alex.
Yeah, I'm looking at a picture from his first appearance. He looks like a dweeb. I don't know. I'm just used to his sort of modern look. I think there's something really bold about just the way it's like kind of Batman-y, but it still has like so much color and so it's so vibrant. Like I really like the way that it looks. So
also just a giant belt buckle, which is fun.
Yeah, that's true.
Here's what I love about Wolverine is Len was clearly like, I have to make this guy have a huge attitude at every moment, but there's not quite a strong enough moment to give him an attitude. So Professor X just says his name like, hi, I'm Professor Charles Xavier. And Wolverine's like, am I supposed to be impressed? Like, no, that's just my name.
He's just introducing himself.
Yeah, what are your thoughts on Wolverine's this is Wolverine joining the X-Men, guys, isn't it?
I know, it's really funny because like from what I only know the movies and bits and pieces, but like the idea that Weapon X just like one day is like, hey guys, I'm out of here.
Yeah,
seems a little crazy given everything.
Well, Alex, he cut a man's tie.
Yeah, I wouldn't screw with a guy.
That's a fireable offense for sure.
Well, that's just something people never try when they are trying to leave the military is just cut your boss's tie. You're allowed out.
I did find myself really liking the thing that they did that I thought was like the most entertaining in terms of dialogue was being able to like make Banshee sound. What is he, Irish? Scottish?
He's Irish, yeah.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
every time I read his word bubbles, I can totally hear it in like a perfect Irish lilt. So I'm like, all right, this is great. This is great writing.
Do you want us to ruin Banshee for you, Alex? We just found this out last episode.
Oh, no.
Yeah, go ahead.
His face is a little improved here, but his first appearance, this happens a lot with the X-Men. We said, why is his face so fucked up? We were informed that it's because it is based off of like 1800s anti-Irish propaganda.
Oh no.
And he looks like a Who from Whoville. And
oh yeah, he looks really fucking weird. His his nose is like got big prominent nostrils. His mouth is super low.
Yeah.
And his nose is super high. Oh, he looks horrible.
Yeah.
It is like a real old-timey racial caricature. Sort of a one-for-one.
He grows to become so handsome. But at this moment, he's also still just so funny that in order to get anywhere, he has to scream the whole time.
One more surprising thing about Wolverine, when we meet him, he's just hanging out in an office building. Charles Xavier is waiting in the conference room, and Wolverine is presumably hanging out in his corner office in this costume.
Yeah, he swings the door open and he says, all right, gents, I'm here. Now, who's the bigwig you want me to meet?
Now read that in Bowen Yang's voice.
So next we have Storm, and this is okay. This is supposed to be Kenya.
Yeah.
This is not what Kenya looks like or looked like. Kenya was actually colonized super early because it borders the Indian Ocean. So part of the, part of the trade network that happened around there, people settled there super early. Like Islam was brought to Kenya in like the 1st century AD.
Oh, jeez.
And that's where the Swahili culture comes from. It's, Islam settlers in Kenya. And it was colonized again by Portugal in the 1800s, and then Great Britain in the late 1800s. So it went from an Islam nation to a Christian nation. And at this point in the comic where they're showing like these tribal people in, tribal
praying to a rain god
in the middle of nowhere. It was like 80% Christian at this time, but
yeah, they had like cities and towns and stuff.
Yes, but what they do get right is that agriculture was huge at this time, and there were a ton of droughts. There was a big drought in the 1970s, another huge one in the 1980s. But I don't know. I don't know what you guys think. I think it seems like they're trying to portray this as like this part of the Serengeti, which is just like the tiniest little corner of it extends into Kenya. So I don't know. Len Wein didn't have Wikipedia, I guess. So maybe we could cut him a break, but it's still that
Encyclopedia Britannica was not hard to come up. I'm not letting him off the hook on this one.
Well, yeah. It's this thing that comics does constantly, which is pretending that Africa is one big country that all looks the same and is still, locked in the Middle Ages.
Yep. But fortunately, they can call on the god, this god, and then she just appears and says, "I'm here, my children. What do you wish of me?" It's awfully convenient of her.
She's leaning into it for sure.
Yeah. It's funny because she could only give them one thing, too. She's only got one thing she could do. So if they had said any other thing, she would have been like, sorry.
Yeah, they were like, could you make me a roast beef sandwich? She would have been like, I can make it rain. My name's Storm for a reason, dog.
That is her pattern of speech is sort of canonized here. This is the way that we're used to Storm speaking, with these like grand sort of, it's not poetic, it's more like proper and
There's a thing that we call Sephiroth posting. Are you familiar with this concept? People who like post on Twitter like they're Sephiroth. She's sort of Sephiroth talks.
Yeah,
You present a most peculiar argument, yet I sense a deep sincerity in your words.
It is wild that they made her pretty much completely naked when they expected. They thought of her as 17 at this moment.
She's topless. She's not. And it seems to me like we're just going through old National Geographics. At this point,
that's
right?
exactly what I was going to say.
Yeah.
Right.
But Dave Cockrum, one thing that I'm very quickly noticing is that he has a very specific way of drawing women's curves so that it does not look like a National Geographic. It looks a little more like it's like a Playboy cover.
Well, yeah, she's got that thing that eventually became just the standard, unfortunately, in comics, where women are situated in such a way that you can see both of their breasts and their full butt at the same time.
Yeah.
Which I don't know if you guys have ever tried to make that happen, where your chest and your back are visible at the same time. It's not a simple task.
Well, these are superheroes.
Yeah. Okay. Good point.
Do we want to talk more about the John Proudstar stuff?
Fuck yeah. Probably. We pretty much covered it. He's just.
Yeah, there isn't much to say. He's basically told he's a fake. He's a fake, and the only way to prove that he is actually part of this proud lineage is by going to fight with a stranger.
Yeah. And even he is like this guy who's kind of thinking to himself, man, my people are all bad. I'm the only good one. Like, even that is sort of this, white supremacist like ideal of like, hey, even they think that they're all bad kind of like idea. Which
yeah. He also, this isn't a racial thing. This is just a pet peeve of mine. I hate when somebody's exceptionally good at something and can't recognize it enough to not get mad at people for not being like he's getting mad that his relatives can't keep speed with a bison and then wrestle it down to the ground with their bare hands. That's not a fair thing to expect of anybody else.
That's true. Yeah, you're right. Colossus's intro. Unproblematic. King saves the baby.
Sweet.
Saves his little sister. Wonderful ever see her again.
These intros give us so much long-term characterization for a lot of the key X-Men players here. We see Kurt as Nightcrawler wants peace, but if he's threatened, he will attack. Wolverine gives the finger to the government. Banshee, just extremely cool. He's hanging out at the Grand Ole Opry, enjoying his life.
Just chilling. Yeah.
Storm is acting really philanthropically, but still pushing for a more effective path to help people. And then Colossus is really warm, empathetic, and his struggle is between family and duty. Like, where would he be more valuable?
Yeah. Here's an interesting thing real quick. I had a interactive comic on a CD-ROM when I was a kid of this issue, and both Sunfire and Banshee's panels, you could click on them and it would take you to their origin story.
That's amazing.
Okay.
Part 2, Matt?
Part 2, and when there was one. I keep looking at it like picking up my Epic collection again and being like, it doesn't say and then. No, it says and when there was one.
When.
Right.
Yeah, it doesn't make a lick of sense.
And there's an exclamation that's definitively the end of a sentence. I don't know how to begin it.
The 7 characters we met in part 1 are all gathered together in the living room of the X Mansion, all outfitted in uniforms that Professor X explains are made with Reed Richards' unstable molecules.
Did you know that? I had no idea that these are essentially the Fantastic Four costumes made into X-Men costumes.
Is it more embarrassing for me to admit I did know that, or to say I did?
It is.
Okay. Then I didn't know it. No, I didn't know it. When the group grows impatient, Xavier reveals that Cyclops will explain everything. Enter Cyclops! He's got a bigger visor and a meaner look on his face, and he explains that the X-Men have disappeared. Flashback to a week earlier, where Xavier explains to the X-Men, including Lorna and Alex, but not Hank McCoy the Beast, that Cerebro is once again detecting the most powerful mutant the world has ever seen.
Again.
This is what, like the 7th time?
Yeah.
They all... remember when they said Banshee was more powerful than Magneto? Okay. They all hop in the Stratojet and fly off to the remote island this alert is coming from. Scott remembers that the rest of the team saw something terrifying once they landed, but he didn't see it himself. The next thing he can remember, he was alone back on the jet, being autopiloted back to the mansion. What's worse, his eyes can't blast! As he returns to the mansion, though, his power returns with a vengeance. His optic blasts are now more powerful than ever before and can only be improved with this new and improved visor that Dave Cockrum wanted to draw. Back to present day, Scott lets this new team of X-Men know they've been assembled to help him find the old X-Men. Sunfire objects, having no investment in this dangerous mission, but as the rest of them fly off in the Stratojet, Sunfire flies up to join them after all. I guess we'll see what happens. You can't put to be continued because it's the same issue. Is that?
Yeah. That's. I wasn't sure how to end that summary.
How do you guys feel?
I don't know. This was sort of like the weakest part of the story to me. It's a bunch of dipshits bickering for a while.
Yeah. It's very 70s comics. Just a lot of people mad at each other for very well-defined reasons. I'm upset for a very specific reason myself.
Yeah.
We get a flashback to the X-Men going to face this terrible threat. Why is Angel still wearing the Avenging Angel costume that Magneto made for him?
The very last time we saw the X-Men, we found out that costume was sapping his energy so that Magneto could reclaim it and suck it all into himself. And after that, he's like, well, I guess that's over, so I'll just put the thing back on.
He just keeps wearing it.
It looks cool, so I can understand.
It's his best costume.
There's an extremely good Scott moment here where when they all take off, he says, "It's traveling time."
There's another good Scott moment where, oh God, I need to find the exact wording here because, okay, we touched down moments later, our VTOL jets lowering us to Earth as gently as an infant is lowered into its cradle. But we were not infants!
And this was definitely no child's game.
I love it. It's like I had to clarify. Hey, but we were not infants.
Don't call me a baby. Scott, don't call me a baby, Summers.
Like, this harkens back to the issue, where Iceman was mad at him, and he was like, oh, are you gonna cry, baby? He's like, and he got so mad, and now he has to clarify every time, I'm not a baby, okay? Also, like, speaking of Iceman, I like that he's experimenting with having eyebrows now.
Does he not have eyebrows most of the time?
Normally he's just got a smooth little face made of ice. And in this one,
there is one panel where he's in profile, and for some reason they make his eyebrows really like Groucho Marx level shaggy. It's a really weird decision.
I love because he can have full control over how he looks, right? Because he's just forming ice over his body. So he was like, maybe I'll look good with eyebrows now.
He picked it up. Magneto controlled his mind the last time we saw him and made him form hair on top of his head.
He's like, I don't like that, but
I should put some hair here. It's weird to not have any hair. This is real growth, I think, for everybody on the team. Someone, Sunfire, says that he doesn't want to be in the X-Men, and nobody attacks him. They let him just hang out.
Alex, this has never happened before. every early issue of the X-Men, they would find a mutant and they'd be like, hey, do you want to join the X-Men? And they would say no. And the X-Men would just fight them immediately.
Well,
their
you know,
own
they're
home.
showing a little growth. That's what happens when you get canceled for 5 years. You get a little more mind.
I don't know. I wonder if we've ever seen examples of that in our culture. Also, there's just a bunch more racial slurs in this one. It sucks.
Oh yeah, it's really bad. So Thunderbird keeps calling Scott One Eye, and he keeps responding with insane racial slurs.
Like,
Oh,
this is
man.
equivalent. Yeah, but you're right, Alex. This is kind of like this is the boring part of the issue.
I mean, it's like telling us, it's like there's like the backstory's too long. The backstory of like how they ended up on this island is too long.
Yeah.
And then them deciding to go to the island also takes too long. Who cares?
It's very transition from part 1 to part 3 story.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I do like Scott with no visor on, though. Those are creepy looking eyes.
Yeah. He looks. First of all, he looks like he's about in his late 50s. Like his forehead is super wrinkled. He's got so many frown lines. He looks nuts.
Yeah,
but he also has like blood red eyes and just like a look. It's got real EC Comics kind of vibes to it.
Oh yes, yeah, absolutely. Well, yeah, and in the panel above it, he's like sitting in the jet with his head in his hands and memories are swirling above his head in this really cool graphical way. It's it
feels kind of Jack Kirby-ish, honestly.
Yeah. Alex, you want to read us part 3?
Oh yeah. All right, here we go. Part 3, Assault Force. Again, really, it's better than and when there was one, but not by a bunch. Assault Force. There was like a Netflix show a few years ago called Money Heist, and I was like, that's a stupid. Like, what else are they doing? I guess I could be stealing diamonds, but like in the end, it all becomes, if you're heisting anything, it's to procure money for yourself. Anyway,
this time we're doing a money heist.
Yeah. We need a force, and they need to be able to assault. Good thing we've got this assault force together. All right, here we go. Part 3, Assault Force. After a few hours, this team of X-Men arrives at the island of Krakoa. As they land, Cyclops reveals they've all got code names now, but only tells John Proudstar what his is. Thunderbird. They all split up into teams of 2 and fan out around the island. John Proudstar and Cyclops land to look around, but as soon as the jet leaves their line of sight, it disappears. This shouldn't be possible, but nor should the temple that just appeared out of midair towards the middle of the island. They decide to trek towards it when they're attacked by the creeping jungle vines that surround them. Luckily, they're very strong and kick those plants' asses. Storm and Colossus find themselves attacked by an avalanche of rocks, moving quite unnaturally toward them. Thanks to Colossus's strength and invulnerability, though, and Storm's control of the wind, they're able to dispose of the threat and meet Scott and Thunderbird at the temple entrance. Banshee and Wolverine arrive along the island's east coast, only to find a pack of giant man-eating crabs, and they have an absolute blast tearing the crabs apart with their claws and screams, and then dance off to meet everyone at the temple entrance.
They're having a blast.
We find Kurt and Sunfire under attack by an angry flock of large birds. Nightcrawler teleports about to take down as many as he can, while Sunfire flies around and roasts the rest. They're both pretty annoyed with each other, but manage to keep it together and make it to the temple. With the gang all here, Cyclops gets assistance from Colossus and Storm in blasting down the front door. They walk in, and as their eyes adjust, they realize they're looking at the remaining original X-Men covered in vines that seem to be sapping their strength. As they manage to set them free, Angel comes to and yells at them. Whoever kidnapped them wanted Cyclops to bring back more mutants. It eats mutants. The earth itself starts to rise around them, as Warren explains that the mutant they're looking for isn't on the island. It is the island.
Whoa.
So in the X-Men video game, the arcade game, they go to a jungle island. Is that Krakoa?
I think so. I think so, because it's like weird little plant things come up from the ground and attack them, right? And some of them look a little like this guy.
Aren't they fighting pterodactyls there, though? Or
they do fight pterodactyls in there.
I think
it was the same level.
Land.
And maybe that's the Savage.
Although why wouldn't they go to Krakoa? Pretty iconic.
I don't know. Maybe Krakoa wasn't really a going concern.
Yeah, it's gone. It's like soap through a fist. It's hey, why do they all hate each other?
I don't know, man. It's weird. It's like the whole point of these guys is that they've been cast out by society and they're looking for friends anywhere they can get them. And then every time they're together, it's just a dick swinging contest.
And they in no way like set up why they hate each other. They just yell racist stuff at each other. Or sometimes not even that. Like, why does Sunfire hate Nightcrawler? There's not one moment where it's explained to us.
Yeah, that is... I think he's just cranky, but he says he has his own reason for being there. He doesn't reveal it to anybody. He just gets upset that he has to travel with them.
Do you think that was supposed to be a plot point? Like, we would find that out? Or that it's just... he's just got to come back, and that's it?
I mean, when you say that he wasn't originally the one that was supposed to leave, then yeah, it seems like that's something that might have explored in future issues. It's
pretty fucked up that Professor Xavier gives them these names, then doesn't tell them himself, has Scott tell them, and how insulting some of these names are.
Yeah, people should really... I feel like they should really be able to choose their own names.
Yeah.
It's kind of...
Right?
There's just like, if Nightcrawler's like, hey, isn't that some sort of creepy, like, bug? And Cyclops just says, yeah, Professor X thinks you look like a creepy bug. Sorry.
Like bait? Like fishing bait?
And again, the Thunderbird. Thunderbird's an Algonquin myth. It has nothing to do with the Apache nation.
And Scott just calls him that. He's like, Thunderbird, you and me are gonna go to the west side of the island. And Thunderbird says, please don't call me Thunderbird. My name's John.
And how could John Proudstar have known the difference between when he was being called his code name versus when he was just being called a racial slur by Cyclops?
Right.
It's a good point that you made, though, is that Wolverine and Banshee are the two that just seem to be having a great time.
Yeah, they get their dream scenario, a bunch of giant crabs that they don't have to feel resentful about killing.
I feel like Banshee's kind of the Ringo of the group. He's just like, hey, I'm down for whatever. Like, It's not like Professor X had to do any convincing.
Peace and love.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I love also that the framing here is that everybody is just like going off on their own little adventure and then just meeting at a meeting spot. And like the framing is that everybody's waiting for the next group of people to show up. And there's a moment where Cyclops is so passive aggressive. It's when Nightcrawler and Sunfire show up, and they're like, "Oh, have we kept you waiting long?" And he's like, "Oh, no, not at all. We just got here ourselves." And then the very next line is, "Well, since we are all finally here, I think we can go." Like, God, Cyclops, that's so rude.
Trying to put myself, as we often do, in the shoes of an X-Men fan in 1975, right? This is mind-blowing. First of all, X-Men is back on the stands for the first time in forever.
Yeah.
Second of all, you're told that after everything we've done to get to this point, this whole island is a mutant. That is frustratingly stupid.
Like, how is an island a mutant?
And I think as we move on, they handle it really well. It's pretty cool, the concept they put up. But having read 66 issues of the X-Men up to this point, I don't have the faith that they're doing this because they have a very cool concept.
One time we were told horses were a mutant, all pharaohs were a mutant, Merlin was a mutant, a robot is a mutant.
Yeah.
Pat,
then we get to part 4.
I'm eager. I'm excited to see what happens with this mutant island.
I will say that the final panel of this chapter section
Mhm.
of Krakoa basically coming alive, like the eyes popping out of the ground,
Yeah.
is pretty dope. Like, it's pretty cool looking.
Yeah.
And then when we finally see Krakoa as sort of like a fully articulated giant monster. So I, again, only sort of know Marvel lore. Like, I've got many gaps. So I thought it was going to be Man-Thing that was coming out of the ground.
Ooh.
Because if you look at it, it does kind of have that like weird sort of tendrils that sort of hang down in front of its face.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Oh, okay.
This is the
Man-Thing.
age
And then I
of
was like,
Man-Thing,
oh, never
too.
mind. It's a living island. A much dumber idea.
When I was a kid, I had this comic on an interactive CD-ROM. And at this point, I could click on that panel and my computer would make a very loud screeching noise at me.
That's
Ooh.
badass.
All right, let's get into it. Part 4, Krakoa, the island that walks like a man.
I'm really going to need your guys' help on this one because I read it like 4 times and could not figure out how they managed to defeat the island.
Yeah.
I was
I mean,
like, what happened? Magnets?
I'm not sure we're going to help, but
All right.
we see a big green grass monster with fangs and bug eyes rising out of the ground, easily 10 X-Men high. A series of panels informs us of a small atoll used. Is that word atoll? I wrote it, but I don't actually know how to pronounce it.
I don't know how to pronounce it either.
I think it's
All
a
right.
toll.
We'll go with atoll. A series of panels informs us of a small atoll used for an early atomic test, the radiation permeating through every living organism, binding their consciousnesses until the whole island was a living mutant being. It captured the X-Men, fed on them, and let a dazed Cyclops escape to bring back more mutants to eat. The living island speaks only to mock Cyclops and threaten the X-Men before attacking. Wolverine gleefully jumps into battle, but soon realizes that the island cannot bleed. Sunfire and Storm both also quickly understand that their powers seem to be useless against such a mutant. The whole team goes in on the creature full force, but to no avail. Suddenly, Scott receives a psychic message from Xavier. Fighting the island the traditional way won't work, but the professor has a plan. He focuses his mind and enters psychic combat with the mutant island. As he does this, Storm summons a great storm to conjure lightning bolts strong enough to supercharge Lorna Dale. Alex Summers objects out of concerns for his lover's safety, but Lorna insists. Krakoa only seems to be growing stronger, though, and Professor X loses his mental battle with the living island. Storm sends the most powerful lightning bolt she can conjure directly into Lorna as the rest of the X-Men fight to buy her time. Using this extra charge, Lorna is able to manipulate the magnetic fields of the Earth to separate the island from the Earth itself and suspend gravity, lifting Krakoa high into the air. Follow me here. Have you ever seen, I think it's called The Predator? It's like 5 or 10 years old. It's a really bad Predator movie about like
I have
super
seen
predator. Okay. There's a scene in that where they've grabbed onto the Predator ship as it's taking off and the force field starts to activate. The main hero ducks down and the force field goes over him, but his friends are standing up and the force field just like chops them all off at the knees. I think that's what happened to Krakoa. This is essentially that force field sweeping through, disconnecting it from the Earth, which in this universe also disables its gravity.
Yeah, well, okay. I read a little bit about this, and it's so magnetism. They're trying to say that gravity is based on electromagnetism. And it must be electromagnetism because Storm electrocuting Lorna Dale somehow makes her magnet power stronger.
Right.
But these are totally different fundamental forces. Like, these are two of the fundamental forces that have nothing to do with each other. So I think it just doesn't make any sense, man. Like
Okay, that's fair.
They talk about here something about Earth forces combining, and what the fuck is that? That's not a
That's Captain Planet, as far as I know.
So Captain Planet, they killed Captain Planet, who was holding this island together. Yeah. Also, why would Storm electrocutes Lorna Dane, and that makes her magnet power stronger because electromagnetism, whatever.
Sure.
Why does Havoc and Cyclops shooting her do anything? Tell me, Pat.
They're buying her time.
No, they're not. They're shooting her.
They're shooting Lorna? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, then I misread that. That doesn't make any sense either.
What are her powers?
Magnetism.
Okay. I feel like you're leaving some shit out here. What does that mean?
The way it's been described to us is that she can control magnetic fields. That's the sum of it.
That's it. And it's this issue that made me, when I was a little kid, think that this is what's different between her and Magneto. Magneto can move metal around like a magnet.
Right.
And she can control magnetic fields, which I assumed had something to do with gravity. And also, like, that's why she can fly. But now that doesn't make sense to me either.
See, I thought, can I pose a different theory here? That
please.
When you disconnect a piece of land from the Earth, it's no longer part of the Earth's gravity. The Earth gives it gravity, but if it wants to leave, the Earth's going to take that gravity back.
Yeah, like that's why when I pick up a rock, it shoots straight up into space. The other thing is, if this were to be the case, like that's not even how geometry works. It would have flown off sideways, right?
That's also true, yeah.
I don't know, whatever. Yeah.
It works. The island starts to grow weak, its monster form starts to melt back into the ground as it begs for help, and the X-Men flee as the island trembles. Bobby forms an ice boat, and the Summers brothers use their blasts to propel it out to sea, just in time, too, as Krakoa appears to drift out into space. But we're not out of the water just yet. The island's absence creates a giant whirlpool in the middle of the ocean, and the X-Men are being sucked in. Iceman forms an ice bubble around the whole team as they go under, being knocked around like flakes in a snow globe. Moments pass, and suddenly the bubble blasts out from the sea with a beam of scarlet fury. The jet also resurfaces, and everyone hops in to return home with one question on their mind. What are we going to do with 13 X-Men? The end.
Yeah. Wow.
So, somebody else get the first thought in here.
There's a moment here. One of my favorite things is always, what was Angel doing? Like, that's a question I ask myself a lot when I'm reading X-Men comics. And it's never been more apparent than here, right? Where every X-Man, there's a panel where every X-Man is using their power against Krakoa all at once. And it's supposed to be like the big fight. And Angel is just flying around.
Just doing loops.
What's he gonna do? What's he gonna do? Does he like barrel into it? Like, what is his plan here?
He's the worst.
He's
now that I'm thinking about the X-Men movies, does he do anything in the movies except fly around a bit? Like, does he have any big hero moments? He doesn't do shit.
No, I think he's one of the people who like, man, it's been so long since I've seen the movies, but I think he's one of the people who goes for the cure. And it's like, I don't want to be a mutant anymore.
So, to clarify, X-Men 3, Last Stand, he is the father of the owner of the company that creates the cure. So his father is forcing him to take the cure, but at the last minute, he busts out.
Oh, right. At the last minute, he jumps out a window and flies away. And that is the moment that I remember about him.
Okay.
And that's all he can do.
You got to be real creative when you're trying to think of like, okay, how can we make a guy with wings be interesting here?
I mean, when he turned into Archangel in like the 90s and like was all metallic, he looked pretty cool. Still didn't do much.
Yeah. I mean, that's like his whole That was the whole thing. It's like, this guy can't do anything. We've got to make him do something. Yeah, he shoots metal from his body now. Yeah, I don't know. It's action. It's ridiculous. Oh, here's an interesting factoid. So Len Wein wrote this issue, but he plotted it out loud in the Marvel offices with Dave Cockrum and some other people. And it's Chris Claremont who came up with this terrible plan about severing the Earth's forces of gravity. So it's
that sounds right.
The legendary, who's about to take over the book, the legendary X-Men writer Chris Claremont, who came up with, that's his contribution to this. He also, you might remember, he's also the one that came up with the idea in a previous issue that Cyclops would take care of the Sentinels by convincing them to fight the sun.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know. How did you guys feel about this final part here?
I loved this. I thought just the absurdity of it and the scale that they're able to build in here. I think they do some really creative stuff with panel layouts to really make this feel like a big event, even though if you try to talk through it, it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
And then, it's just the X-Men being the X-Men. It's a lot of characters that we know being goofy, creating drama amongst themselves.
I feel like I am of an age where I learned more, like I understand modern panel design better than I do this. Because there's one half panel, it's like a half splash page, which says, "Mere words could never begin to describe the sheer unbridled savagery of the battle that follows, so we won't even attempt it here." And the page is just cluttered. I have no idea what's happening. Whereas, like in modern comics, you see like every blow land. You see the fights are choreographed in almost like an action movie style.
Yeah. They've learned a lot of lessons since 1975.
That would have been incredible because we would have got to see what Angel even does here.
Right. Alex, we're so used to just seeing a panel of like a foot connecting with a face and then another panel of a fist connecting with somebody's stomach. This is a real step up for us.
And the entire page just being covered in words, which this is a little bit that, but like, believe it or not, this is an improvement.
Yeah, this is more concise than it's been. You know what's strange to me?
Yeah.
A science accident affects all the living organisms of a pure, untouched patch of nature.
Yeah.
Those living organisms grew to share consciousness and form a very powerful body shaped not unlike a man's. Does this sound familiar to Len Wein, the creator of Swamp Thing? Or anybody else? It takes its own unique path from there, but the explanation of how the island of Krakoa formed is eerily similar to Swamp Thing, which he just created like a decade earlier.
Swamp Thing is a man who get blown up and he fall into swamp and become swamp.
Swamp Thing is a man who get blown up and he fall into swamp.
Yeah. This is swamp who get blown up and become man. So I see the confusion, Pat, but it's wildly different.
Scott has a real good line here. He says, "Filthy monster, you used me like a lousy Judas goat leading lambs to the slaughter." Now, I thought he was just very confused and mixing metaphors. Did you guys know that a Judas goat is a real thing? This is a herding goat that they train to lead lambs to the slaughter.
I did not know that.
Oh, yeah.
Matt did.
I knew. Sorry. I'm sorry. I can't I can't tell you I didn't know it when I knew it. Yeah, I did know that. But it is wild.
But also, like, I know that there's a lot of like lamb and innocence kind of allegory in the Bible. So I was like, this is a Bible thing. I'm letting this go. I don't want to deal with it.
I thought he was playing out the Last Supper, but with farm animals instead of people.
I had a few things to say about this issue, but none of them feel as strong as just the impact of this last moment, right? Like, it's interesting that they're still trying to do the Iceman Havoc Lorna Dane love triangle.
Oh yeah, Havoc goes to rescue Lorna, and Bobby just gets there faster and is like, "Too late, Slim."
And then it's interesting that Professor X is like, oh, I found what's an island's one weakness? It's brain. Like, there's little moments. The soap that they brought soap through a fist back.
Yes.
That was a thing in a previous X-Men issue when the Blob and Eunice charged somebody at the same time, and they were like, and then it shot them in the air like soap through a fist. And now they did it here.
This is the inverse of Holy Hannah for me. I love this phrase.
You want
like soap through a fist.
I don't understand what it like you can't hold on to it. Is that
like
the idea?
Slips out of your hand very quickly.
That's so dumb. I mean, I say that with all the love in the world, but that's so dumb.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
One really good callback to early X-Men here is they all hop on a disc of ice that Bobby creates, and then two members, using their blast power, create enough momentum to get that ice disc to move. This is Plan G. This is Plan G from like issue 8, 9, 10 that didn't work because they couldn't work together. And now they're doing it. They've lost the weird little phallic mounds that everybody has to hold on to.
Did you go back and see what they called that plan, and it was called Plan G?
No, I very specifically remember it's called Plan G because they create a glider.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, there's a lot here that's dumb, and there's a lot here that's silly, but mostly it's just like, okay, yeah, like the X-Men all work together and they fight an island, right? Like,
to me, I understand the impulse. It's like you want to give them something really big to fight, but there's a lot of things that are bigger than just like a landmass.
Yeah. There's a happy medium.
You could literally make it anything. There's no rules in comics. It could be like Galactus already exists at this point, right? So we've already got like massive.
Yeah.
Like they could fight anything. I don't know why. Like I understand the scale has to be big for 13 people to be fighting, but I feel like they just could have picked anything else.
Right. Like, there's got to be when you zoom in on it. It is literally Wolverine just stabbing a dirt and moss.
Right. And again, I feel like if the language of comics had evolved in such a way, that could be really cool to see him slicing away at a creature and just having it reconstitute. But it's just not. There's not enough detail, and there's not the language. Like the language of the panels has not evolved to that point.
Yeah.
And they ran out, and like I love the fight with crabs, and birds, but it's like they ran out really quick. Like Len Wein was like, well, they'll fight vines, they'll fight rocks, and what else is that? Crabs and birds.
Make them big.
Right, like they couldn't think of enough plant matter for them to fight.
I had a blast. I love these characters more than anything else. I think maybe I'm getting to our final thoughts too soon, but it's my other big thought here is that it's the most angry we've ever seen the X-Men. It is the most serious we've ever seen the X-Men. Mm-hmm. This is not the group of happy-go-lucky teens that we're used to used to following around.
Yeah. What are kind of your overall thoughts here, Alex?
I thought it was. I'm like genuinely shocked that all of these characters were introduced in the same comic. Like that.
Yeah.
That's really cool to see where they came from, especially since sort of I have some idea of where they've gone from here. It's not a barn burner in terms of like plotting and narrative, but like I did enjoy it. Like I enjoy one thing that I feel like I know Professor X for is being kind of this grounded, sort of sweet, empathetic guy. He's kind of a smartass in this, and I really enjoyed that. I would like to see more smartass Professor Xavier.
Yeah.
So like I don't know. I really enjoyed it mostly as like because it was so curious to me because like I didn't know that they took this 5-year break. I didn't know this was a reintroduction of the original team and an addition of like 5, 6, 7 new people. It's like really, I really enjoyed that. I didn't understand a lick of the fight. Like I had no idea what was going on, but it was very nice to know that I wasn't the only one. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Absolutely.
It's a big tone setter for sure. It's not about the story as much as it's about like, this is what the X-Men are going to do for the next 20 years.
Yeah. And I mean, and we've been crawling through the desert. Like this is as stupid as this story is. This is this is water to a dying man. Like we've been crawling through this desert of Silver Age comics, and the thinnest plots, the worst dialogue, and to come across this, like there's actual character in this, and there's actual, even if the dramatic tension is built around the dumbest stuff ever, like it's actual dramatic tension. And this also, I should say, this is the birth of the Bronze Age of comics, right? Like this is the death of the Silver Age. The birth of the Bronze Age is often people cite this exact issue. This is when comics take another step forward. So
it goes back to them being a little more angry, a little more serious, because we start to, like, we get Frank Miller right around this time, right? There's a slow arc into just making comics a little darker, a little moodier, and a little more geared towards the older teen market. And this is really like representing that turning point where it's not as bright and happy as it used to be.
I do want to talk about the one thing that like there's thematically there's a lot I don't understand about this, which is we know that the X-Men become like a metaphor for racism, right? Like it is this idea of them being outcasts in a hegemonic world, but standing up to defend it anyway. It's about marginalized communities in sort of a ham-fisted, not great, but trying its best way. So why have everybody do a bunch of racism at each other?
Yeah.
Like it seemed like the only thing that Len Wein could do to make tension between these characters was have them all talk about how their cultures were different and their races were different. And at that point, like, why bring in a multicultural team then? Like, if you were trying to make a point about that, wouldn't the stronger point, like the stronger point for today would have them be all curious about each other's cultures, but the stronger point for the 1970s would be for them to not care about their cultural differences, right?
Conceivably, yeah. It feels like a lazy way to build tension between them, and honestly, Claremont's the one that really tries to draw the parallels between racism and homophobia, which is who we're about to get to, whereas Len Wein
is still just thinking of it as an adventure comic.
Exactly, yeah.
But you'd think even then, right? Like, so if he's not thinking about the mutant metaphor at all, and he's just like, okay, well, we're going to bring a bunch of people together. They're going to have this tension because they're all from such different backgrounds. You'd think he would end the comic in a way where it's like, and then they all came together and got over their differences. They don't, right?
No.
They just kind of fight next to each other. They don't like start getting along or anything.
If there was more motivation to their fighting, which again, later on the divisions become more motivated. There's the love triangle between Cyclops and Wolverine and Jean Grey, and people fight over all kinds of shit hundreds of times over the course of hundreds of years. but like, if it was more motivated, it would be really cool to leave that unresolved. They would motivate me to want to read more of the comic, but they just don't have enough space to do that in 38 pages, I think is what we got from this giant X-Men.
Yeah. If you take out all the ads.
So yeah, I wonder if that was just like his long-term plan is like, I'm going to explore this and I'm going to have them get over this racial tension. It's just so clumsily done at first that I don't know.
And then he immediately leaves the project.
He just creates a bunch of racists. And he's like, you figure it out.
Good luck, Chris.
Yeah.
Speaking of ads, which I mentioned a couple of points ago, we do have a fresh Pat Steals and Deals from this issue. Alex, I have spent my vast fortune collecting every original print of the X-Men. And with that come the original ads. This one, and I won't read the whole comic to you, but this is a full-page comic, Spider-Man comic, labeled The Trap. The idea is that these criminals are setting up a net trap for Spider-Man.
Okay.
He walks right into it. They net him, and they put him in a pit that he can't climb out of. It is 5-foot thick concrete security cell.
Sounds like an interesting comic you're describing. Okay, fine.
So this is now we're at that's the end of Act 2. He doesn't know how he's going to get out of here, but until he realizes that he has stuffed at least 5 Hostess fruit pies in his costume, he offers 3 of them to the guard, who says, "These are delicious. Why don't I just let you go?" And then before he goes off to take care of the boss, we don't get to see the conclusion ultimately, but he does show us that he has one more Hostess fruit pie hiding in his costume, points to it and tells us all to eat them.
So this is
two
Pat
things.
Steals and Deals. Pat Steals and Deals this week is Hostess fruit pies.
Hostess fruit pies. 2 things. Number 1, I wouldn't want to eat a Hostess fruit pie that came out of Spider-Man's costume. It's very tight, and he does a lot of exercise. Yeah. Number 2, this actually signals a big change in Marvel's approach to marketing, where they are grabbing a national brand at this point and putting them into a comic book. Before, it's been like mostly classified ads or like the
people selling a literal monkey.
Yeah, people selling an actual monkey.
You know, him having a Hostess pie or a pie in his suit reminds me of a tweet that I read once that says, "Last time I hooped at Moore Gym, I was guarding a dude with no socks on, and he did a spin move, and a smashed McDouble fell out of his pocket." This is like the Spider-Man version of that.
Right. Yes. I love it. That's so true. At some point, some of these have to fall out while he's fighting the rhino or whatever.
Anyway, this is a huge moment for Marvel in just booting up their ad revenue, which isn't particularly interesting, but it's history.
Okay. Yeah, that's true. You're right. Who drew it? Who do you think was in charge of drawing the Hostess ad, the Hostess comics?
They don't give any credit here. I don't know. Who's drawing Spider-Man at this point?
I don't know, man. I have no idea.
Nobody knows. We're not following Spider-Man.
We're not following Spider-Man. We're following the X-Men. Don't distract us. Well, that's Giant Size X-Men #1. Before we say our goodbyes, do you have anybody have any other thoughts about this or Pat Steals and Deals? Because I don't know that I have anything to say about Hostess Fruit Pies, Pat. I'm sorry.
That's okay. I could talk about him for an hour.
Yeah, me too.
All right, what's everyone's favorite Hostess Fruit Pies? Go around the room.
Well, it's
Cherry.
definitely cherry.
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Alex.
Oh, damn. Okay. I'll give it a try. I'll try them tomorrow.
All
Do
right.
they even still make those?
I'm not sure. They made them in my childhood.
Yeah,
but
they
I'm an
definitely
old
made
man.
them in my childhood, and they were definitely advertised pretty liberally in Marvel Comics.
Yeah.
I don't.
Oh yeah, they still make them.
I don't think they're still in the wax paper, are they?
No, it looks like doesn't. I mean, as near as I can tell from just a quick Google, it doesn't look like they sell them individually anymore.
Ah, fuck.
You
Well, I'm
gotta
not
buy
gonna buy
a
a whole-
pack of fruit pies.
I'm not going to buy a whole pack of Hostess Fruit Pies.
Might as well just buy a pie at that point.
And it looks like they've become subject to shrinkflation. They're now snack size.
Yeah, these are huge. These are the size of Spider-Man's head.
They're taking everything away from us.
Where does he hide that on his person? He's just covered in sticky cherry goop.
So, every time somebody punches him, it's just like even
Are
if
you
it doesn't-
eating? No, that's just my hostess fruit pie.
This guy bleeds green blood. It's just so I had green apple today. Well, Alex Goldman of Hyperfixed, thank you so much for coming on Mutant Menace and talking about Giant Size X-Men #1 with us.
Hey, I learned so much. Not about how they stopped the island of Krakoa, but certainly about the history of the X-Men.
Good.
Good. Yeah, I mean, that's all this is good for. It is a historical artifact, which is why we read it and tell all our listeners about it, so they don't have to sit down and read these fucking things.
Alex, anything you'd like to plug before we sign off?
Not really. Just if you're interested in a podcast where a dipshit solves other people's problems, it's hyperfixedpod.com.
It's very
and
good.
Hyperfixed Pod on all social media. We got a 3-part episode coming out in the next 6 weeks. It's going to be a banger that's going to require a ton of work and money, but it's going to be good. I'm excited for it. So, yeah, that's coming up, and yeah, that's it.
Awesome.
Well, everybody, you can email Pat's email corner at mutantmenacepod@gmail.com.
You can follow us on Instagram at Mutant Menace Pod. Big thanks to Krills Wilson for the opening theme. Big thanks to Julia Selly for providing the voice of Trish Tilby.
And as we say at the end of every single episode, you can stuff a cactus, Custer.
That's right, folks. And as always, the boss will have my head, but gee, light, flaky crust, real fruit filling? You got a deal, web slinger.
And like we say every week, I much prefer the direct approach.